What do you say, Oz? You in?
Let's dance.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. This will be my full Penguin Episode 2 video. There are a bunch of Batman Easter eggs and references, so we'll break it all down. If you're brand new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the episodes. Careful for spoilers if you have not seen the episode yet. We'll start at the beginning and work our way through shot by shot, talking about Easter eggs and WTF moments. The episode title was Inside Man, a reference to Penguin, because in this episode he starts actually playing the Falcones against the Maronis, like he's spinning all these plates in the air, trying to play everybody against each other. Making plans, the plans failing, and continually having to make contingency plans on the fly, which he then advises to Victor at the end of the episode. Always have a contingency plan. Always think on your feet. Originally, he'd bargained with Sal Maroni to become their inside man inside Falcone's organization, while making the Falcones believe that it was Maroni who killed Alberto. But also, he's not just playing the Falcones against the Maronis, he's also, within the Falcones, sided with Sofia, becoming her inside man inside the Falcones, gonna help her take over the family eventually. But he's also still at odds with her, because the whole idea is that he's trying to become the comic book Penguin, eventually causing both of these families to go war with each other, hoping that they destroy each other, and he can slide in to make another Penguin reference and create his own empire, becoming more like comic book Penguin. So it's a little good, the bad, and the ugly, where everybody is sort of playing against each other in this situation, and Penguin has plans within plans within plans. He's not meant to be a criminal genius, to make another Batman reference to the comics, but he is meant to be very quick on his feet, a very, very good improviser. There's been no plan that he has made this season so far that has actually gone according to the way he originally wanted it. He's continually had to make contingency plans, always thinking on his feet. Clearly, that will continue to happen through the rest of the episodes, like things will only get crazier. The actual opening scene starts with Sofia having a flashback to inside Arkham Asylum. It looks like she's just gotten there in her vision, like she's been there for just a little while. She seems super surprised to see her brother Alberto. Remember, she told Penguin that he came to visit her regularly. Then revealing that it is a vision when she sees that his finger has been cut off and she starts to remember things from present day. Notice we also find out that she calls him Berto. She keeps referring to him as Berto during the episode. The reason why she only sees the shadowy hand reach out to shoot him is because she's suspicious of who actually killed him. Like, she doesn't actually know. She's heard people blame others, but the idea is that she's meant to be very suspicious of everyone, including Penguin. Even though they formed the alliance at the end of the episode against Luca within the Falcones, even though Penguin was successfully able to frame her man for Alberto's murder and pretty much everything else that's happened, she still does not trust Penguin. So the idea is that that suspicion will continue through the rest of the series. Like, he's not completely scot-free from Alberto's death. You also notice that the visitation area here is the same one that we saw in the Batman movie with Robert Pattinson's Batman visiting Riddler in Joker in that deleted scene, because it's meant to be the same universe. Notice the red flashing lights. It seems like some sort of psychological treatment that she was given that her psychiatrist here is using. And if it seems like they have some kind of weird sexual relationship, that's because it is. Like, the way they've talked about, at least online, the articles about the character, is that there is some kind of relationship between the two of them. Always very healthy for patients to have sexual relationships with their psychiatrists. I am sure that will end well. But the actual red flashing lights and just his general demeanor give a lot of Hugo Strange vibes. They're calling his character Julian Rush, who is not a character from the Batman comics. They created him for the purposes of the Batman universe here. Most of you will remember him as Shades from the Luke Cage series in the Marvel universe.
That's a cheap broom.
Old.
Notice he tells her to start looking around the room, and the picture that she looks at looks suspiciously like the outline of a chubby comic book Penguin. Like, maybe some foreshadowing there, like in her mind, subconsciously, she's suspecting the Penguin was involved in Alberto's death still. The reason why she tells him that she's not safe even though she's at home is because the entire family is against her. As we see through the rest of the episode, they basically want to get rid of her as fast as possible, if not straight up kill her. Also, there's outside forces that she'll have to worry about soon too, if not already. Like the Maronis are going to try and kill the Falcones eventually. Love the title transition too, the way they do this episode. They've kind of been doing this in all the episodes so far, so I'm expecting this to continue in future episodes with different scenes. But when she says she's not safe at home, it literally transitions right to the Penguin's face inside his car, implying that maybe he will be faced with the decision to actually have to kill her. We find him outside Blackgate Penitentiary, ready to meet Maroni again. We learn that he's already been informed by his people on the outside that Penguin pinned Alberto's death on him. Shorey Agladashu is meant to be his wife, and this is meant to be his son. The way they explain their characters is that he fell in love with a Persian woman, this woman here, and eventually replaced his entire Italian mafia with the Persian mafia. So that's why in the Batman universe, most of the Maronis will look Persian. Penguin scrambles quickly, trying to save the situation, like I said, thinking on his feet, playing it off like he was doing Sal a favor by pinning the murder on him to make Gotham afraid of him again, make the Falcones afraid of him again, who then threatens to out Penguin's treachery to the Falcones, but the way they played, he manages to talk himself out of the situation like he did in episode 1, revealing that the new head of the Falcone family is Carmine's brother, Luca. Love the little detail about his wife talking to him in Farsi so that the Penguin doesn't understand. It's also meant to foreshadow the idea that she's very involved in his day-to-day running of the actual family on the outside while he's in prison. Like she's meant to be just as cunning as he is. What Penguin means when he says that Maroni will have to do his part in all this, it's taking credit for Alberto and letting the war play out between families, while Penguin tries to dance in between them, spinning all these plates in the air, playing everybody against each other. He agrees to do that in exchange for all of Falcone's drops business because they're going to hit the truck. The idea is that Carmine Falcone actually stole the drops business from Maroni in the first place by outing him to the feds and getting him thrown in prison, then basically absorbing his drops operation, making it the Falcone's operation. That's one of the reasons Penguin was trying to play on his desire for revenge against the Falcones. We meet one of their capos, Irvad, who will help him steal everything he needs from Robbinsville, where the Falcones ordered him to take the drops business. If you didn't watch Sopranos or you don't watch a lot of mob-based television shows, capos are like captains inside the mob families. The reason why they're using the FEMA trucks to move this stuff around is because, remember, this is just right after the events of the first Batman movie, so Gotham is still a disaster site. FEMA is still there trying to help everyone in the city. Penguin sets everything up so that he can take down all of his enemies when they hit the convoy, but then Vitti shows up and he has to call an audible, being thrown onto the truck, having to survive the actual hit. Notice how they're making Vitti seem like such a butthole in all these episodes so far. Like they really want you to hate that character. They want all the other characters to also hate him too. Like Penguin hates him and Sofia hates him. Pretty soon when Luca finds out that he's been banging his wife, he'll also hate him too. But one of the key things here is that he calls him Penguin to his face, and in the Batman universe, the way that Matt Reeves explained it is that Penguin is meant to be a derogatory term that people call him who don't like him. All because of his deformity in the way that it makes him walk, like it looks like he's waddling around like a penguin. So the idea is that they really want to make it seem like Vitti hates Penguin, and Penguin really hates Vitti. Penguin winds up surviving the hit by having to kill all the different members of the truck, eventually himself. Like the driver almost dies, but survives to see him killing the other two men, while that Bobby Darin song, Call Me Irresponsible, is playing. Very apropos choice for the song itself, because Penguin is being very irresponsible in this situation. We spent a lot more time in this episode with the Sofia character too. Like she comes back to the mansion while they're talking about the hit in the background. She hears Penguin getting credit for saving Castillo's life. Penguin yelling at John Vitti, trying to save face, playing it like the disaster wasn't his fault, it was Vitti's fault. Remember, this is him basically trying to maneuver things to make everybody think that Vitti was the mole on the family. We meet Luca, the new head of the family, Carmine's brother. The way they play the dynamics in the situation here, Penguin notices that they hate Sofia being there, they don't want to have anything to do with her, and that Sofia also hates them too, so Penguin tries to use that to his advantage. Immediately clocking that Vitti is the fall guy that he needs to go for. Pin it all on Vitti. Everybody hates Vitti. Sofia starts to have a bit of a standoff with Luca, and they sort of set up this fight between the two of them that will play out over the rest of the season, however many episodes. He doesn't really care that much about her, and she's going to eventually try and take over the family herself. There are a couple quick references here too, like when he says, "What are you doing, running a marathon?" Because she knows that he has the deformity and can't walk that well, so she walks even faster just to mess with him. Early on in the episode, she still really hates him, and even though at the end of the episode, when she does form the alliance with him, she still doesn't like him that much, but he's currently the only person in the family that seems like he's supporting her. So it's more of an enemy of my enemy is my friend situation with the two of them. His big pitch here to her is to use that mystery drug shipment, which she also references later in the episode too. The fact that it's such a big mystery feels like there's going to be some big payoff from the comics, or it'll be some big twist and we're not expecting. Like it's not an actual drug, it's something completely different. A lot of people wondering if it's Venom because Venom is a big drug in Gotham City during the comics relative to the Bane character. DC just announced that they're actually doing a Deathstroke in Bane Teamup movie, but I think it's meant to be connected to the DCU universe, not to Matt Reeves' Batman universe. So like it's a completely separate thing. That's just a coincidence. When you see Penguin and Victor walking down the street and he stops and looks at the missing persons poster, I think the idea is that he's thinking of somebody that's close to him. There's a couple of texts he gets later in the episode. I think it's meant to be a girlfriend of his that we'll meet in next week's episode. There's only teasing more of his backstory too, like we don't know that much about his character yet. When we see Sofia's car, the D71 license plate is a Batman Detective Comics reference, Volume 1, Number 70. Sofia listens to the news on the radio. They mention all the problems still caused by Riddler's attack, like all the stuff that FEMA is trying to help with, all the flooding. The mayor-elect that they mention is the brand new mayor Bella Real, who just got the job towards the end of the Batman movie when all this craziness was going down. They reference psychos being let out of Arkham Asylum. You remember that Joker and Riddler are currently in Arkham, probably a bunch of other Batman villains too that we don't know about, but it's mostly meant to be a reference to Sofia Falcone being let out and being acquitted of the murder of 7 different women. They make a bunch of references here and later in the episode to her Hangman identity from the Batman Dark Victory comics, which is meant to be a sequel to Batman The Long Halloween. During that storyline, she took the Hangman identity and killed a whole bunch of people. But the way the showrunner talked about her character in this traumatic past, these Mystery 7 killings that got pinned on her, is that everything that everyone believes in present day, especially the family, believing that she did this isn't totally correct. So I think the idea is either someone else was involved and she was framed for it, or she's only partially responsible for those 7 deaths. We'll probably get some more flashbacks to explain what really happened, like how those 7 women all died. Penguin tells the story of how he came to work for Carmine Falcone to Victor, basically likening it to the way that Victor came to work for Penguin, like he's just like him, like he got an unexpected promotion just like Penguin did when he was younger. When he mentions the Blue Heron Club, that's also the club that his mother took him to as a child that he talks to Sofia about later in the episode where they went dancing after his brothers died. As we hear from him, at some point he became a barback at that same club, then eventually one of the other mobsters that was working for Falcone hired him as a driver, and then that driver wound up getting caught talking to the feds and then killed. He calls it popped. Which is also meant to be a parallel for him commenting on the current situation that they're in, because Penguin, if he is caught, will get popped. But the idea is that when he was younger, Carmine Falcone kept him on, seeing something in him, giving him a chance, so he's doing that with Victor now. Even though it might not seem like it, this is actually Penguin's way of showing Victor how much he believes in him. Like, you actually have a shot, kid. You're just like me. You can make it if you work on it. You learn to think on your feet, which he also admonishes him for at the end of the episode. Like, don't screw up. When you screw up, always find a way to save the moment. Really big Easter egg here too. When Penguin talks about learning how to drive and stealing the car and crashing it into the Sprang River, that's actually an Easter egg for Dick Sprang, who was a famous Batman artist back in the day on the classic comics. We see his girlfriend, Eve Carlo, come with her friends, and they all just celebrate with some of the Falcones, and Penguin using the opportunity to try and stoke the fires against the Maronis. There are a couple funny moments with Penguin trying to set Victor up with the cam girl, and he just has no idea what to do. They're really just using this moment to show you that Victor has another girl that he's actually going out with that he cares about. Like, oh yeah, you're nice, this is cool, but he starts stuttering just because he's so nervous, and because she starts asking him a whole bunch of questions that he doesn't want to answer. Eve then correctly guesses what Penguin did. He killed Alberto Falcone and has now sort of roped her in on it with her girls. He explains his plan to her about using the pictures against John Vitti to frame everything on him and the club that he's going to create that she will work at with her girls after this. Now, in the comics, the Iceberg Lounge was his big place, but in the Matt Reeves Batman universe, the Iceberg Lounge was owned by Carmine Falcone and Penguin just ran it for him, which is now defunct. So I don't know if this new club that he plans to create will be like another version of the Iceberg Lounge or something that's totally different. They use the opportunity to remind you that he sleeps basically in a converted bank vault, and he keeps the files with the dirt on everyone, really important files, in a lockbox, which does seem prudent. Sofia winds up going to one of her father's former dirty detectives to find out who the mole is inside the family. They don't actually name him, like he never speaks his name, so it's not meant to be Bullock or like a famous comic book character. I think it's just someone they created for the purposes of the show. But he also mentions that half the Gotham City Police Department is dirty and was working for Falcone, which will probably come back in the next Batman movie too. Part of the idea in the first movie is that Batman was fighting the police as much as he was fighting the Riddler. But this detective seems like he's going to become Sofia's detective from here on out, like you're helping me from now on. Later we find out that she's actually been sleeping inside her closet, like notice she walks out of her closet in the beginning of the morning. Probably because she doesn't feel safe, something about her PTSD from Arkham, like she's used to sleeping in small enclosed spaces because she's been in Arkham for so long. All these fresh scratches on her neck seem like something that she did to herself. Maybe it was her clawing around the chains that used to be around her neck. Like that's why she was scratching, like she was metaphorically scratching because she still felt like it was around her neck. Penguin's mother has another episode that he tries to deal with. They basically want to set up the complicated relationship that he has with her, kind of like Tony Soprano and his mother on that series, The Sopranos, because the Penguin series is aping The Sopranos a lot. Sort of like The Sopranos, but with Batman characters. Revealing that he won't send her to a home or get her special help, which she critically needs, implying that maybe she'll wind up having some kind of accident in the future and will wind up dying that way. But notice later in the episode, he actually lies to Sofia Falcone, claiming that his mother also is dead, probably as a way to both protect her and also keep people from using her against him. They have Alberto's funeral, the protesters calling for them to send Sofia back to Arkham. We see the woman in the pictures with Vidi is actually Luca's wife. They leave before he's able to show him the pictures, so he has to call another audible, like he will have to do pretty much in every single episode. We'll probably see him do that several times in each episode. There are a couple Easter eggs on the signs here too. The red question mark, if you don't remember, is meant to be the Riddler's symbol from the first Batman movie. Remember, there was one of his followers on the subway trying to get him to scan the QR code because the Rata Alata website is active again. You can actually scan that in real life. It'll take you with a bunch of articles about stuff that's happening currently in the Batman universe. So some of these people are meant to be more of the Riddler's followers. Remember, the way they position the Riddler inside the Batman universe here is more of like a QAnon kind of vibe, trying to out conspiracy theories. So part of the idea is that people think there's some kind of mystery behind the deaths of all these women, all because Sofia was supposedly acquitted of their deaths, but nobody believes her and everyone just thinks that she did it. As I said earlier, the showrunner revealed that that's not meant to be completely true, like we'll learn the truth of that history eventually. You can let me know in the comments, if she wasn't completely responsible for all those 7 deaths, who do you think was responsible? Like, was it her mother or was it someone else? Penguin tells her a story about his dead brothers, confirming they died when he was young. There were some theories about that after episode 1, saying that they didn't have a funeral service for them because his mother didn't want the pity. And even though he does tell her a couple lies here during their conversation, when he talks about dealing with the pain, he is being truthful though. Like, some of the things he tells to her are truthful. We find out that his brothers were named Jack and Benny. I'm sure we'll also get a flashback to explain what happened with them and what happened with his father. Then he gets a text from the Maronis because of what happened with Ervad being captured by Sofia's detective. He winds up saving his own life by telling them about the dirt that he has and all the files on everyone that they're going to use throughout the rest of the season. He also tells them that he's going to save Ervad's life. During Alberto's wake, Sofia also gets Ervad down in her basement, ready to interrogate him. Theoretically, he would give up all the secrets on Penguin and what's really going on too. When Penguin gives Victor his mantra here, the only way out of this is through, that'll probably be a recurring theme throughout the rest of his meteoric rise to power and in like future Batman movies where he appears too. When in doubt, when things get crazy, the only way out of this is through. He creates another elaborate plan, which of course does not go according to the way he wants it. Victor tries to plant the jewels on Vidi's car unsuccessfully, so he winds up having to kill Ervad so that Luca will be convinced that there is a mole inside the family, and that winds up working successfully. So R.I.P. Castillo, like he starts the fight with Vidi so that he can plant the knife on Castillo. Also, he found a way to plant the jewels in Castillo's apartment too. So now Sofia believes that it was Castillo that killed Alberto, but that doesn't mean that Penguin is off scot-free. She's still suspicious of Penguin, like she doesn't trust him. They also use this to set up more of the fight between Sofia and Luca, trying to push her out again. Like, there are a couple moments at the wake here where it's clear that the rest of the family, like even the regular family members, like the other women, do not like her and do not trust her. So she feels like everybody is against her, which is why she's so willing to team up with the Penguin, who she still does not like. The enemy of my enemies is my friend, and right now her real enemies are her family. So pretty easy to guess that in some future episode, she will wind up killing Luca herself. Penguin then admonishes Victor for his failure in not thinking quickly enough on his feet. Lay down with the body, like he actually has to hug the bodies down there in the grave. This is like a recurring theme between him and Victor. Like every single episode, there's always a moment where Victor thinks that that's it. Like, oh, Penguin's gonna kill me now. Why else would he make me lie down in the grave next to these dead bodies? But when he reminds him to always be quick on your feet, I think the idea is they'll pay this off later this season when Victor will do that, like some plan will go awry and he'll wind up saving Penguin's life by thinking quick on his feet. A lot of people also asking if his name is Victor, will he wind up becoming Victor Zsasz from the comics? I'm not expecting that, but because all the different Batman characters and Batman villains have a more real-world spin than, say, like the more fantastical Batman movies, it's always possible. If that winds up happening, hopefully he doesn't get little cuts all over himself. Like, that would be pretty nuts. Sofia calls to make the alliance with Penguin, and they meet at their graves. Basically, these are the tombs of all the different Falcones. Carmine, who died during the events of the Batman movie recently, his wife, Sofia's mother, who died in 1994, they linger with the camera on her for a little while, so I feel like we'll see what happened to her in a flashback. We briefly heard her voice during the home movie that they watched at the wake. And when the camera pans down to Alberto's tombstone, they actually remind you what time it is inside the Batman universe. It's November. The way that Matt Reeves explained it is that the events of the Batman 2 movie pick up right after the Penguin series, meaning that the Batman 2 might wind up being another Christmas movie, just like Batman Returns. But there's a bunch of Easter eggs and references throughout the episode. If there's any that you spotted that I didn't talk about during the video, write down below in the comments. My full episode 3 video will post next week after they release it, so big reminder that new episodes are on Sundays now. It's a Sunday night show. There's a bunch of big stuff coming up. Everyone click here for all my Penguin episodes, and click here to learn about the new Batman, Deathstroke, and Bane movie that they're working on. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.